When you operate this machine, you stand on the side here. You don't stand here. When you approach the machine with your brush, you pick up the brush, you come over here to the side of the machine, and you push the brush in. I know you guys have all driven around town and seen guys bent over like this, pushing stuff into the machine. An absolute no-no. You never want to go past this safety plane. Every chipper manufacturer has come up with the same scenario. This is the safety plane of these machines. Do not cross this point. As long as you have your magnetic bracelets on, if you cross the safety plane, it's real. It will stop that feed roller. So the guys that are used to running these machines are going to be mad at first because they're used to going beyond. So a fun story, El Dorado County DOT in California, we did 4 machines. Guys, we did 2 one morning or one day, and then they took the machines out that very next day. They came back around 2 o'clock, so upset that they couldn't use the machine. They go, take this junk off of here, it's worthless, I can't operate the machine. He was so used to running the machine improperly and going beyond the safety plane that he got upset at it. He took his bracelet off while the machine is running, and he stood back like he's going to be a star pitcher and try to pitch a strike. Threw the bracelet through. He goes, I'll show my bosses. I'll just chip this dang thing. And as soon as it crossed the safety plane, shuts it off, and it just stuck to the feed roller. So if you're used to running this chipper improperly, you're going to be upset about it. But tell you what my guys say, they wouldn't operate a machine without it at this point. So the way this system works is it works off of magnetics. These plates that are installed in here cancel out magnetic earth and are looking for a change in magnetic field within this area of the hopper. You put on magnets on all your extremities, means all 4 limbs. That way, if you have a sudden lack of judgment and decide that you're going to climb on top of the machine, like that gal I discussed in Kentucky, and get pulled, you're going to trip it. If you don't have these on, you're not going to initiate the machine. So you have to have a magnet present to get those feed rollers to spin. I'm a tree guy. I've got these in my magnets. These green things in my boots we call them boot lace magnets. They just go right in your shoelaces. So if you're doing tree work all the time, you don't have to go through the annoyance of putting this around your wrist or your ankles. So when you first start up this machine, you check all your safety devices to make sure everything is working. So that means you're going to check your control bar to make sure it's working forward and reverse. This one has a neutral. You find that machine inside has a 4-position control bar. So if you pull it all the way back, it will stop it. And pushing and holding it does it in reverse. This machine is equipped with last chance cables. But you need to make sure that these things are functioning prior to using the machine. When you start up the machine, you start it up as normal. Just the same as you've been taught when trained on how to use the machine. You're going to fire it up, you're going to engage the clutch, everything's going to be going. However, that feed wheel is not going to spin until you take your magnet and put it next to one of these resets, and they're on both sides of the machine. And what you're going to want to do is come up to the one side and then check it. Make sure that it stops, come to the other side, turn it on, and make sure it stops. I'm going to turn the machine on at a low RPM and get the feed wheels to spin. I don't know if any of you know how to do that, but you can do it at full RPM and fully running. But so you can hear me, we'll just do it at an idle. So you can see there's green lights on either side of the machine. It means the feed wheels are active. And if you've run this machine for any time, you know that you can fill the entire hopper full of brush and not be able to tell if it's feed wheel spinning or not, because sometimes you put the wood in and it kind of dances on it. So This gives you a visual of what's going on. Those feed wheels are working. So you don't reach into this machine with that green light on at all. On the side of this machine, there is a controller. It's a little black box here. There's a red LED light. That means it's armed. And if you trip it, you'll get blue flashes. So the magnets go right through steel. This is 1/4 inch thick steel. So in the event that you see somebody running the machine without the magnets and there's an issue and maybe you're over here, you can run and stop this from the side of the machine. You may or may not have an annoyance trip in this scenario because your magnet is close to here. I don't know if I'm not tripping it there, so I'm not getting any blue flash. But if you get close to it, you can see the blue flash. So if all of a sudden you're trying to raise the yoke and you go, oh, it stopped, what's going on? You more than likely got too close and tripped it. Magnets can affect a pacemaker. The machine is labeled for warnings in English and in Spanish on pacemaker. So make sure that if anybody has got a pacemaker that they need to check with their doctor, make sure that it's going to be okay for them to have this. The machine is labeled on both sides for the pacemaker. I'm going to read out loud a label on the other side of the machine here, or on the front. This wood chipper is equipped with a wood chipper safety shield. The device must be tested prior to each use of the wood chipper. This device adds additional safety to the wood chipper. It does not replace proper safety training that is required to operate a wood chipper. Read and understand the operator's manual before using this machine. I got a danger sticker up here, pacemaker danger. Strong magnets are used with this chipper. Check with your doctor before use. In the owner's manual here, there's an owner's manual that I put in for our device. It goes through all the steps I just talked about, troubleshooting and so forth if you have an issue. So it's in and with the machine as it's required. Our electronics are not only field tested, but we're laboratory tested in sub temperatures and extreme temperatures on a G table going from 0 to 6 Gs while it was tripping and resetting the entire time for, I think it was a total of 45 days, 75,000 sets and resets. So we've not had any issue with that controller at all. Mr. Jimenez worked for the city of Inglewood. He's a 24-year tree veteran, 16 years with the city of Inglewood. This is his funeral picture. He got pulled into a wood chipper, and the way the coroner describes it is total body fragmentation. So the only thing that was left of him was in white on this picture. This is the actual coroner picture. The only thing you can see is a little bit of his lower portion of his leg, and nobody witnessed the accident, exactly how it happened, but we can surmise from this graphic picture, he went through head first. These machines have a dead spot between the cutter knife up in here and these feed rollers. And it's about that wide. That's where they found his boots with his legs sticking out of them. A lot of tree guys are super macho, been doing this for a long time. Never gonna happen to me, but it does. And you think, I'm just chipping little tiny branches. What could possibly go wrong? Well, this is the branches he was chipping. Little tiny 1 inch, 3/4 inch elm tree. It's not much. Doesn't take much to get you to pull in the machine. About 1.5 years ago, a guy in Michigan wearing a nice heavy coat like this, got himself hooked up in cold weather, pulled into the machine, just caught onto his coat, a little stub, and that's all it took. And in he went. Monday, guy in Georgia, 63 years old, went through a chipper. It happens all the time. Stanislaus County in California. They had a guy drawn into the machine. And what's interesting is they do a investigation after the fact. He got drawn in, but he didn't perish, he didn't get injured. He may have messed himself a little bit. When he got pulled into the machine, a branch got around behind him, snagged him, and started pulling him towards the feed rollers. And in his after incident interview, said the last chance cables, the control bar, nothing like that came to my mind whatsoever. All I could think about was stopping the pull of the machine. And you're not going to do that. And he got all the way up to his hard hat, was hitting the feed rollers. And somebody saw what was happening and stopped it. In that incident, they ran a guy on safety watch. His job was to stand here and watch this control and watch the guys. This is his guy's job. This is all he's supposed to do. Somebody gets in trouble. I don't know what happened, what went wrong. A cool looking car went by and he's like, hey, look at that, a 67 Camaro or whatever. He got distracted and in he went. And then he looks and goes, oh, geez, stop it. And stopped it at the last second. So keeping your focus on what you're doing here is extremely important. Another city, big Vermeer Chipper 18, it was a big machine, 6'9" infeed on that thing. Training a new guy, guy's on the job 3 to 6 days. He's teaching him how to run the chipper, everything's going great. The guy grabs about a 5-6 inch diameter tree branch, 30 feet long or so, goes down, curls it, lifts with his legs, walks over to the side of the machine, shoves it in there, and the Vermeer moved the branches side to side. Branch swept over, a branch got under his feet, flipped him up, threw him right on the feed table, pinned his arms underneath, and his feet were in the air, and he's going in the machine. And he said, thank God I was close enough that I, boom, hit the safety control bar and stopped it from any further. It scared that guy, obviously, scared the guy that saved him as well. He goes, reverse it, reverse it. He goes, I'm just shutting it down. He goes, he was so panicked that I could go the wrong way. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to shut it down and then get him out of there. It can happen like that. You're doing everything right, but the branches move side to side. On these machines, they have a tendency to move up and down, but they will roll. So, branch comes in around behind you, J-shaped branch, easy to pick you up and start pulling you in the machine. All right, guys, that'll conclude it then. You are more than welcome.